Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Pearson. I want to share with you a story that transpired many years ago, probably in the 1990s, when I was first committed to looking at ways to collaborate. And there was a group of practitioners in Saskatoon, Canada, and I thought, I need to go check these people out, because what they were doing, in fact, is they had a chiropractor, a physical therapist, an orthopedic surgeon working together in dealing with people who had on-the-job injuries. And they would often be that final group of practitioners this patient might see before their claim got closed. And this might not sound very innovative to you, but 20 years ago, it was very innovative for these people to be working hand in hand. So I went up there and I got to observe, I got to be a fly on the wall. And I learned something that I had never intended would be part of my lessons that I would take home, but it profoundly impacted me. So it went like this. This gentleman had had back pain for about 3 or 4 years on the job, been through lots of care, and now these different disciplines, the chiropractor, the physical therapist, and the surgeon, were going to come in and try to assess what they thought was left, if there was anything left with regard to pathology. And first of all, the chiropractor was the first one in, and I was sitting just quietly on the wall. No words could be exchanged. I didn't want to influence the engagement. And there was about 45 minutes that went through. It took the chiropractor that long to do a consultation and examination and watch to see how the patient moved and to make an assessment. Then the chiropractor, when they was done, left the room and handed off, if you will, to the next practitioner, who was a physical therapist. And I was listening to the handoff as the chiropractor kind of espoused what he thought was predominantly problematic with the patient, and the PT took that data and went in. And again, the whole another 45 minutes passed, almost essentially the same in terms of questions asked and how the consultation flowed and what examination was performed and the kind of responses the patient had to the pain or the tests that were to try to provoke pain. Then the PT left and met for the third time with the orthopedic surgeon, and he again shared his initial thoughts, what he thought was going on with the practitioner, and the surgeon went in. So here I am now for my third time with this person watching the same engagement, and about 45 minutes passes with a consult and exam, and there's some similarities with how each of these practitioners asked questions or did things, but I kept seeing a similar response by the patient. So finally the surgeon left, and it was just me and the patient. And I realized that part of the exam was over, and it was probably safe for me to talk to him. And what was so fascinating is I said, "So how was that for you?" And he kind of looked dumbfounded. He said, "It was so weird for me." And I said, "Well, tell me what you mean by that." His response was, "I kind of figured out during the second examination that what I was talking about in terms of how I felt and what my pain was like really wasn't the case anymore. But I have been reacting to that horrible pain that I had a couple years back, and I'm so fearful it's going to come back. So I had a hard time talking about the pain in the past tense, and so I didn't. And my body kind of remembers that pain. And in actual fact, as I'm sitting here and talking to these people and being examined, I don't have any pain." And I just gave him pause, and I thought about it a little bit, and he thought about it. So he said, I feel kind of bad, because I actually am pretty good. I've just been terrified it would come back. So when I left the room and then I flew back to Spokane, I was up in Saskatchewan. I went back, and I was then employed by Group Health, and I talked to the medical director. I said, "Hey, let's try to engage patients and try to figure out what they're actually thinking about their pain and trying to find the reality of the pain." And of course, it was a ridiculous idea back in the 90s, but it's always been in the back of my head. So when I see patients now, particularly in our collaborative back care program, I want to ask them, what are your beliefs about your pain now, or your pain in the past, or what your fears are about your pain in the future? And all of those things need to be dissected so that patients can get really clear about how clear their thoughts are in truth, how truthful their current thoughts are about their current situation, or, as I say, are they throwing their past into their future? Or are they fearful that their past will be repeated into the future? So it's food for thought, and I wanted to share that with you because I think it's always important to be thinking about these things, particularly if you've labored under chronic pain for some time, and see what comes up for you. Thank you.